Președintele Azerbaidjanului, Ilham Aliev, afirmă că pacea cu Armenia este realizată de facto, un moment de cotitură în istoria Caucazului de Sud. În cadrul dialogului cu președinta Comisiei Europene, Ursula von der Leyen, liderul azer a subliniat extinderea parteneriatului strategic și măsurile concrete de sprijin acordate Erevanului. Vă invităm să vă abonați, să apreciați și să distribuiți munca noastră. Vă mulțumește echipa Jurnal Info.
Dear Madam President, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Madam President, welcome to Azerbaijan. I'm very glad to see you again. We met last year twice at the margins of European political community summits, May and October, and had broad discussions on our bilateral agenda and many other issues. We, by the way, have a very active phase of relationship between European Commission and Azerbaijan. This year we hosted the President of European Council, Mr. Costa, this March, and then on May we hosted the Head of European Diplomacy, Madam Callas, and today President of European Commission. So I would say this is an unprecedented dynamism in our relationship, which reflects the mutual will of both sides to intensify our cooperation and to strengthen partnership. We highly value relationship with European Commission, and today with Madam President and with delegations we broadly discussed a very impressive agenda. European Union is Azerbaijan's main trading partner. More than 40% of our trade is with member states, and for European Union, Azerbaijan is the main trading partner in the Southern Caucasus. 70%, almost 70% of trade in the Southern Caucasus is trade with Azerbaijan. Of course, we broadly discussed our cooperation in the field of energy, and the visit of Madam President 4 years ago to Azerbaijan was also very important. From this point of view, we signed MOU on strategic partnership in the energy field, and since that time, Azerbaijan's natural gas export to European Union member states increased almost 65%. Today, half of our gas export goes to member states of European Union, and in total 10 members of European Union are recipients of Azerbaijani gas with the potential to expand this geography. Energy security for every country is today a very important factor of national security, and Azerbaijan invested a lot its political efforts, diplomatic activity, and also financial investments in building infrastructure for transportation of our oil and gas. Southern Gas Corridor is a remarkable example of our common activity. 3,500 kilometers of integrated pipeline systems today is the main artery for transportation of natural gas from Azerbaijan to Europe. Connectivity definitely was one of the important parts of our discussions. Azerbaijan is an active participant and initiator in many cases of the regional transportation projects. East-west and north-south transportation corridor cross Azerbaijan, and having good relations with the neighbors and the neighbors of our neighbors allowed us to establish a very broad cooperation format, which is to the benefit of all the actors. Today the volume of cargoes through Azerbaijan in all directions is growing. We invested largely in transportation infrastructure in Azerbaijan and in the neighborhood, and are continuing to do it. And with respect to the new geopolitical situation, we see that there is a need to expand the capacity of our trade seaports, of our railroad infrastructure. We are doing all of that in line with the schedule and with our own financial resources. Relatively new part in our relationship with the European Commission is renewables. We also largely discussed it with Madam President, and with the potential of Azerbaijan of solar, wind and hydropower, and existing already transmission lines and more to be built, we can become also strategic partners. From this point of view, I informed Madam President that the contracts with foreign and local companies signed so far will allow us to have 8 gigawatts of solar and wind energy in the next 5-6 years. This is only what has been signed, which is kind of a contractual commitment, but definitely there will be more. And of course, we discussed largely the regional security issues, especially the normalization process between Azerbaijan and Armenia, which goes successfully. Last August in Washington, in the White House, in the presence of President Trump, Armenia and Azerbaijan signed a joint declaration. President Trump also signed it as a witness, and also Armenia and Azerbaijan initialed the text of the peace agreement. So de facto, peace is done, and we see the benefits. We made many unilateral steps in order to demonstrate that peace is not only on paper, but we can feel it in day-to-day life. Azerbaijan lifted all the restrictions on transit of goods through its territory to Armenia. That restriction was imposed because of occupation of our internationally recognized territories by Armenia. We also started to supply Armenia with a critical fuel, particularly gasoline, diesel. In today's geopolitical situation, it has even bigger importance than ever before. So we are demonstrating that for us, peace is something we can already touch, we can feel it, and we are learning to live in peace. We lived under occupation for 30 years, and we restored our sovereignty and territorial integrity ourselves by force and by political means, and we offered peace to Armenia. So now peace is reality, but we must work hard in order to strengthen it, to make it long-lasting, to make it eternal. And of course, we highly appreciate the support of European Commission and Madam President. Also informed me that European Commission can and want to be very helpful, and we appreciate any help, any assistance from this point of view. And I think that that will strengthen the dynamism in the region, that will allow Southern Caucasus to be an area free from any territorial claims, any conflicts, the area of partnership, cooperation, and peace. Once again, Madam President, welcome to Azerbaijan, and wish you a pleasant stay.